It started with a flight delay, a missed connection, and a terminal that felt like it never slept. Inside LAX's bustling international terminal, time didn't move. It blurred. Travelers sat slumped in chairs, charging phones, sipping stale coffee. Among them stood Gabriel Reyes, a 34-year-old Filipino-American entrepreneur, wearing a fitted jacket, jeans, and carrying a sleek black backpack. He wasn't flashy, just polished, the kind of man who turned heads without trying. He had just landed from Tokyo after finalizing a major startup partnership. Exhausted but calm and composed, he was texting his wife to say he'd be home soon when Officer Dennis Krall entered the picture. Krall had been an airport police officer for 15 years. Stocky, brash, and power-hungry, he'd built a quiet reputation for targeting travelers who looked out of place. To him, out of place often meant brown. That morning, Krall was already frustrated. A recent complaint against him had made it into an internal review, and he wasn't about to lose face. So when he saw Gabriel standing alone near Gate 48B and typing in Tagalog, Krall's suspicion turned to fixation. He walked up slowly, hand on his holster. "Excuse me," he said gruffly. "What are you doing here?" Gabriel turned, confused but polite. "Just waiting for my next flight, sir." "Where are you coming from?" "Tokyo." "Where are you going?" "San Diego." Krall narrowed his eyes. "You traveling alone?" "Yes." "Mind if I see your ID?" Gabriel, puzzled, handed it over. Krall looked it over but wasn't satisfied. "Step aside for a moment. We're going to need to do a quick search." Gabriel frowned. "Is something wrong?" "Don't make this harder than it needs to be." Krall moved in. He yanked the backpack from Gabriel's shoulder and dropped it on the floor. He ordered Gabriel to face the wall. People started to glance over. Krall pulled on plastic gloves and began rifling through the backpack, tossing items out. Toiletries, tech gear, papers, nothing suspicious. But Krall wasn't looking for contraband. He was looking to provoke. "What's this?" he muttered, holding up a portable hard drive. "It's encrypted. You hiding something?" "That's private company data," Gabriel replied firmly. "Please don't mishandle that." Krall stood up, chest puffed. "Getting defensive, huh? That tells me a lot." "No," Gabriel replied, now angry. "I just know my rights." "You people always know your rights when it's convenient," Krall spat. That sentence silenced the terminal. A mother gasped. A business traveler dropped his coffee. Someone started recording. Gabriel didn't flinch. "What do you mean, you people?" Krall ignored the question. He grabbed Gabriel's wrist. "You're being detained for questioning." "On what grounds?" "Suspicious behavior, refusal to cooperate, and potentially carrying contraband." "That's a lie," Gabriel said clearly. "You're lying." But Krall didn't care. He twisted Gabriel's arm behind his back and slammed him into the terminal wall, hard enough to make heads turn and phones fly up. Security personnel rushed over, but not to stop Krall. Instead, they closed the area with ropes. Travelers yelled, "He didn't do anything!" One shouted, "I saw it! That cop was harassing him for no reason!" Gabriel was handcuffed and dragged through the airport like a criminal. What Officer Krall didn't know, what he never considered, was the thousands of hours of CCTV footage stored above every inch of the terminal. Within hours, Gabriel's detention made its way online thanks to several bystanders' videos, but the airport authorities refused to comment. That night, Gabriel sat in a holding room in tears, not because he was afraid, but because he was ashamed for ever thinking someone like Krall would treat him fairly. By morning, the footage exploded. A law student named Mia Han, who had filmed part of the encounter, filed a complaint and demanded public release of the airport's CCTV. The footage showed everything: Gabriel standing calmly, Krall approaching without cause, the baseless search, the racial comment, the illegal detainment. Within 24 hours, major outlets picked up the story. Filipino man wrongfully detained at LAX. Headlines blared, CCTV EXPOSESRACISTAIRPORTCOPDOT. Civil rights attorneys reached out to Gabriel, who had been released without charges and given no explanation. The mayor's office issued a public apology. Kroll was placed on unpaid leave. But that wasn't enough. Gabriel, a man who had built his life on quiet integrity, decided to fight. He filed a civil rights lawsuit with 3 other men who had similar stories. Each had been profiled at LAX. Each had encountered Officer Kroll. The case ignited a national conversation about racial profiling at transportation hubs. Public outcry surged. The Transportation Security Board was forced to reevaluate joint policing guidelines. Congress members called for hearings. The airport, under pressure, made the CCTV footage public.